how many quarterbacks in the NFL could have done what Aaron Rodgers did? 37 seconds left, 0 timeouts. You need to drive
Nobody.
what, like 50 yards down the field? I wouldn't say nobody, but
I don't think anybody.
it's a very short list. So
But
you think nobody?
I don't think anybody would have made it look that easy. I think there are certain quarterbacks in the league who could have done it, but I think the way it was planned and diagrammed, I think was just so cold-hearted and so robotic. Like he literally looked like he was making a sandwich. Like this was nothing out of the ordinary to him, which was scary because literally there's no timeouts left. You have to think, and we might get into this. We'll obviously get into this. You have to think his biggest target in that situation, Devontae Adams, would not be open. And for him to hit Adams twice, I thought that was way more impressive than anything he did the entire night. And I thought he played a really good game. But the way he got them into field goal range so quick was like unhuman-like. I've never seen it diagrammed like that. And he's gotten so many things done in his career like that, but I've never seen it the way it was just pinpoint. Bam, bam, spike.
He just made it look extremely easy. I would say maybe I could count them on one hand how many guys I think could do that. Like Patrick Mahomes is definitely one of those guys. And we'll get to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs later on and the fact that they didn't get that done. But normally he's one of those guys. And I would say Tom Brady, even still at what, 44 years old, your favorite guy, he could still be doing that.
Talk about Tom Brady.
There's probably a handful of guys who could do that in the NFL. But there are 32 quarterbacks starting in the NFL. So that's saying that so 1 out of 6 almost quarterbacks could do that in the NFL. So anyways, to me, it was more so about what Aaron Rodgers did. The fact that the 49 and the reason why I said it was a little bit of both when you set it up is because I was, and I'm going to say this as a 49ers fan, I was very proud of the 49ers and how they stuck around in that game. They were down 17-0 early in that game.
Zip. That means you have no points.
It could have gotten really ugly really quick. And it was ugly early, but it could have gotten even worse. And it could have looked like the Monday Night Football game between the Cowboys and Eagles was in terms of the margin of victory. So I was proud of how the 49ers fought back in that game. So I would say it is a little bit about how the 49ers hung around in that game. And I'm a big Jimmy G supporter. There's not many of us left, but I was proud of how he overcame that bad fumble late in the game.
And I was surprised.
He drove down the field, 75 yards in 2 minutes, and he set his team up for the win. And if most quarterbacks in the NFL are on the other side, and you're not an Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, or whoever is a part of that handful, then the 49ers win that game and they steal a victory from the Packers. Instead, Aaron Rodgers, as Stephen A. likes to say, he's a bad man.
Well, I've struggled with this concept all day. And I think a lot of people that have this, I don't think any logical football fan has the mindset that the Niners blew the game. I don't think there's necessarily a set diagram for what you do in that situation. Because if you play Aaron Rodgers as wideouts man to man, you run the risk of a guy like Devontae Adams, even a tight end like Robert Tonyan beat you down the field. So you have to play zone. And I think they had the right mindset. It's just that Fred Warner, he didn't fade back deep enough to have a shot. And he almost, for as athletic as Fred Warner is, he almost got a hand on it. Maybe a fingertip away from the game having a different outcome if they don't get that big chunk on the first play. With Jimmy, I would have to agree that the fumble was bad. But I do think there is some merit in the fact that Jimmy worked the 2-minute drill, did it as best as you can. This whole argument that, they scored too soon, I don't think that's a real argument. Your mindset in that situation isn't, let's run down this clock. So if we get the lead, Aaron Rodgers won't have time to beat us. Your mindset is we're down. We have to score. That's your whole mindset. So they did what they had to do. The Niners offense, which has been criticized and dissected for many years now in this Kyle Shanahan regime for not making the big plays in the passing game, did what they were supposed to do. But the defense, even though they are banged up at the defensive back position, which was ironically the worst position to be banged up in that kind of situation. The defense did not get it done, and the defense was not as good as it's used to being all night in some context.
I agree with you there because it's not even the defense as a whole, really. It's mainly just the cornerbacks. The 49ers are extremely weak at corner right now. They
This
lose
is true.
Jason Verrett to a torn ACL, first game of the season. That guy is a great corner, and he was the team's number one corner going into the season. He had a good season last year. He's a guy who's battled injuries throughout his entire career. And that was always the fear with Jason Verrett, is that he was going to get injured. Of course, it happens the first game of the season. The Niners do get Emmanuel Mosley back for the third game. He missed the first 2 games, and that was a big
And he
boost.
played good on Adams in that second to last drive. I thought that was good coverage.
It was. And then you have Josh Norman, who was just recently signed. He goes out in the first half. He had like a bruised lung or something like that. He spent the night in the hospital. And then so pretty much everyone it's the 49ers running backs and cornerbacks are all going down, it seems, at the same time. And so just when it came to the defense, the corners was the big weakness. And when you're playing one of the best wide receivers in the game in Devontae Adams, you're going to see what happened last night.
So on the flip side, because I think the Niners are going to be okay. I don't know what the ceiling is for the Niners, but I know they'll be in the mix. I think they'll be okay, God willing. I know they're going to have to play in the NFC West, and that's arguably the best division in football right now next to the AFC West. But
no,
on the flip,
it's NFC West is
right
on
there.
one tier,
yeah,
and then AFC West is under it. I
can go with that.
I don't want to sound like a hater, but the NFC West is just the best division in football by far.
I thought that this was a statement win for the Green Bay Packers. I definitely think that going into San Francisco, and we'll argue about this tomorrow on our side of the podcast, because I want to get their opinions with the guys. But I think the way they won that game, the way that the Packers were in control for a majority of the game to start was impressive. They did what they had to do. They got the crowd out of the game. They got the quick scores. But the way they lost the lead, and then the way in unprecedented stature of how they got that last drive to set up Mason Crosby, that was a big win for the Packers, but it was a big win for Aaron Rodgers because they've had 2 straight weeks now where post New Orleans, they did not look like the NFC Championship team 2 years in a row, let alone a playoff team. And the way they've played the last 2 weeks, I get it's the Lions, but now against a team in San Francisco that's going to be competitive in November and December and January, hopefully. The way they attacked it, they have the running game going. They're a way better team when they run the football tremendously well with Aaron Jones. And then the way Aaron was able to do his part, because there is this notion, or there was at least before last night, that he's done, that he can't do what he used to do, literally by himself, orchestrate an offense. There is that notion out there. I don't know how much it is. You'll always have the Rodgers doubters, but the way Aaron Rodgers was able to get that done in that environment, less than a minute, no timeouts, he's far from done. I don't understand that notion that he's finished as he's a game manager now, but like the way he orchestrated that drive damn near by himself. That was impressive.
The narrative after week 1 in that really bad loss to the Saints, like there's no sugarcoating it. It was an awful loss. And I do put a little stock into the fact that when you look at the Packers record just in the state of Florida over the past handful of seasons, they're really bad. They tend to struggle in Florida.
They go to Florida and they are the Green Done Packers in Florida. They're done in Florida.
You look at last year when they played the Bucks in Florida, and it was an awful loss. Like Aaron Rodgers, who had 5 interceptions last year. I think he had 2 in that game just against the Bucks. And so the Packers just play bad in Florida in general. And I don't think enough people were putting too much stock into that. But just because of everything that happened with the Packers this offseason with Aaron Rodgers, everyone was saying, oh, Aaron Rodgers is checked out. Aaron Rodgers doesn't care. Aaron Rodgers is trying to lose on purpose to sabotage the Packers.
Like all of
that was just nonsense. Crazier. All of that
I've seen crazier.
I mean, he's not Pete Rose. So like,
no,
I just thought it was all just BS, and Aaron Rodgers is still that guy. He's still that man. And it was just It was one bad week. If that one bad week happens in week 7, we're not talking about it as much. All those narratives aren't out there, but because it was the first week after all of that drama happened, everyone pointed the finger at Aaron Rodgers and said he doesn't care anymore. He doesn't want to be there. He's going to sabotage his team, when it was just one bad week and everyone was overreacting.
I don't know necessarily what the Packers can be as a team just yet. Like I said, they've had 2 consecutive really good wins. I think what bodes well for the Packers and Aaron Rodgers going forward, we'll talk about this later. Number one, they play in an abysmal division. You can make the argument there's not going to be one team post Green Bay or besides Green Bay that will have a winning record in that division the way it's looking. I don't see that happening. Number 2, they have a good recipe to win. When they run the football tremendously well, it opens everything up. And I am pretty certain at this point right now that Davante Adams is the best wide receiver in football by far. Route running wise, the ability to make plays in the air, to control his body. And we've had this notion for years as football fans that Green Bay, you could separate the arguments. Green Bay either doesn't care enough about Aaron Rodgers to get him talent and go all in these last 2 to 3 years to go for a championship and get a playmaking player. But you can also separate the fact that Aaron Rodgers has never had talent. That can't be the case anymore. Davante Adams and Aaron Jones are 2 of the best skill position players in the entire league. And you combine that now with Aaron Rodgers, who I still think is not necessarily elite, but he's damn better than a lot of other people, and he still has that ability to turn it on, 37 seconds, roll the tape. So, big win for Green Bay. And I don't know what this means going forward, but what a hell of a game, man. That was football at its best. Even with all the penalties and stuff, great stuff. I know you're a Niners fan, so it's hard. Come on now. It was a great game.
Oh, without a doubt, it was a great game. It was a heartbreaker as a 49ers fan. But I'm going to plug my own podcast here, Shaun and Vaughn. On my podcast, my co-host Vaughn and I, a couple weeks ago before the season started, we did our preseason predictions for this upcoming NFL season. And we did a full rundown of the 17-game schedule for the 49ers. And this was the first loss that I picked for the 49ers to have. I said they win week 1 and 2. But then I said they are going to lose to the Packers week 3. And Vaughn just told me I was crazy. And he was like, no, Aaron Rodgers, like, he basically had the same thought process that many people had, that, oh, Aaron Rodgers is done. He doesn't care anymore, blah, 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 blah. The Packers are still a really great team. And you said Aaron Rodgers isn't elite anymore. Maybe just one elite. He is elite. Maybe not elite, like
he's
Patrick
2
Mahomes.
elites. He used to be 3 elites, but now he's 2 elites.
Okay, I'll take 2. I'll take 2.
2.
You keep
better than 1.
So what is Brady? I know how much.
Well, you know what Tom Brady is. Hey, you know what Tom Brady is. He's the elite.
GOAT.
There is no elite. That's the GOAT.
Tom Brady is elite.
Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback to ever live. We're not going to have this argument on my
podcast. No, there's no disagreement from there. No disagreement from me.
And you're a Niners fan, so that's hard for you to. I know Joe Montana.
Oh, well, okay. Well, so I was born in 1998. So by the time I came along, that was all just history. But I grew up knowing that Joe Montana was the greatest of all time.
Okay.
But when Tom Brady came back from down 28-3 to win his 5th, Montana had 4. When he won his 5th in the fashion that he did, coming back from down 28-3, there was no doubt in my mind anymore after that. And then he adds an ugly ring over the Rams, 13-3.
Ring's a ring.
It's a ring is a ring. It doesn't matter. He got there, he got a ring. But so then he adds the 6th. And then he decides to leave New England and leave his great head coach and Bill Belichick, arguably the greatest coach of all time. He leaves him, and in his first year in his new home, gets another ring, number 7. One more thing I wanted to say about the Packers before we move on from the Packers is you were saying, I don't know where the Packers are going to go here this season. And I just want to say this because I want to see your reaction. And obviously we're doing this over Zoom. So I can see your face. My preseason predictions, I have the Packers winning the Super Bowl this year.
Okay. I wouldn't say winning it. I do think
you're not going to like who I have them winning it over either, but I got the Packers winning it.
Well, okay, but I will say in regards to that final note, we'll talk more about this as the season evolves. I do think when they are at their best, and there's a lot of factors that go into that: injuries, mojo, momentum, how a team's producing, production. I do think if and when the Packers are at their best, they are one of the 5 teams that I would see not just in the Super Bowl, but potentially winning it because they have the game plan for success. They run the ball tremendously well. Once they get some of those pieces on defense, like Kevin King back, it'll be a little different story. I think Rashawn Gary, go blue, is developing at an all-time unpredicted speed. I didn't think Rashawn Gary would be that productive of an NFL player, but he's proven us wrong. So I go with that. I think the Packers are one of 5 teams I could see winning it. Obviously, long season ahead. It's week 3, but I don't think you're crazy. I do think you have something going there. Okay.